Welcome back to the Mad Bell Podcast. In this episode, I get with Dave Argall, Tim Thwardzik, and Dane Watro, local politicians that are putting the volunteer fire service in the focal point of some of their efforts for this year. We had a really candid conversation, even going as far as talking about the struggles of volunteers to work full-time jobs, try to juggle training and fundraising, and even recruitment or retention issues. So enjoy this episode. As we get into it, make sure you support these guys as they're supporting us. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Mad Bell Podcast. Yes, the Mad Bell Podcast. And I didn't get to tell these guys this yet. It's called the Mad Bell Podcast because you must be mad to put yourself and your life on the line for zero pay and just because nobody else will do it. But that's where the Mad Bell Podcast came from. I am joined by three gentlemen that have been doing their public duty representing the state of Pennsylvania in multiple ways for quite some time. And recently they did let's put it this way. They're putting the volunteer fire service out there to help us basically retain and recruit and just stay active with all of the struggles and the mountains that we have to climb. So I'm pretty pumped for this. I reached out to them and they all immediately jumped to say, yes, let's do a recording so that we could get this message out. So, gentlemen, if you would introduce yourself and then we'll get into it. Tim, why don't you go first?
Hi, I'm Tim Thwardzik. I represent the wonderful 123rd District of Pennsylvania in Schuylkill County, 66,000 plus fine people. And we really do count on our volunteer firefighters. And I was very happy to work with Senator Argall on a recent meeting where we had 85 plus firefighters and community people come in to talk about what we can do to try to make more volunteers, answer the bell.
Yeah, nice. Dane? Oh, you're muted. Hold on. There you go.
Am I good?
You're good to go, buddy.
All right.
Good to go.
Yeah, Dane Watro, the 116th District. I have the honor of representing the Hazleton area and Luzerne County, Lower Luzerne County, all the way down to where I live, Schuylkill County, and Shenandoah, Monterey City, all the Union Townships, McAdoo and Klein as well. So first responders are super important. Look, when we hit 911, we count on them to be there in a timely manner. So it's important as a legislator to get behind you all, support where we can, be helpful, and just be there for you. Partnering up with our good senator and representative to host this meeting we had a short time ago was very beneficial, and hopefully we get the school districts on board as well to partner with what you all do in keeping us safe.
Nice. Dave?
My name is Dave Argall. I'm the state senator for the 29th district, which is Schuylkill, Carbon, and Lower Luzerne. So pretty much Pottsville, Jim Thorpe, Hazleton, and the surrounding communities.
Perfect. So, and whoever wants to kind of open up the conversation. So you guys did like a community meeting and you were talking about programs and ideas, things that to help support the volunteer fire service. Can we dive into that right away, or whoever has specific ideas? Let's talk about the things that you guys talked about so that we can share this to the masses.
I think, for a long time we've been hearing that volunteerism is facing some real challenges, not just in Pennsylvania, but everywhere. And so, for so many years we said, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And every once in a while, a good idea comes forth. And so when we saw that just north of Schuylkill County, some volunteer fire companies were working with their school districts to encourage the formation of, volunteer fire units within the high school. and make it part of their everyday experience. We jumped at the chance to bring those same people down, to meet with some of our principals, to meet with some of our superintendents, and see if we can't get that same ball rolling in the communities that we represent, because I think no one doubts that it's desperately needed.
Very good. Um, I will say this. I think it's an amazing idea. Our department, I don't, and you guys may or may not know this. We run what's called a Junior Fire Academy every summer. We run a 2 week program. Last year, we took a busload of kids to FDNY to the Rock where they train. We've gone to the State Fire Museum in Harrisburg. They meet the guys and see a helicopter come in from Life Flight. Like we do that stuff. Like that's a thing that we do. We do the mock DUI with Blue Mountain High School. Like we do other things, but having the ability to really get a program involved in the schools would be amazing. The only challenge that I will say from like my viewership on my end that comes from that is school districts are great, but the departments who benefit from that are going to be spread out within those districts. So that could provide some challenges, but yeah, it'd be nice to be able to get all the departments on the same page. That would be the challenge part, I should say. But I think it's an amazing idea. Um, what's something outside of just the recruitment side are things that you guys have brought, or been made aware of or have on your mind to try to help maybe do some more retention side of the fire service? Is that something that you guys have ever, a hurdle you've ever addressed in any way, shape, or form?
Well, we certainly look, at the budget every year and try to find a way to get more money to our volunteer fire companies, because it's a shame that you spend your time fighting fires and raising money. And of course, the good news is in the summertime, I get to go and visit a lot of fire companies and enjoy wonderful bellinis and food and bean soup.
Yeah.
And I exercise more so I can, go back to my job. But it's just really wonderful that people in our community still come out and support all the firehouses. And it's unfortunate we have to raise money that way, but it's really nice to see our community still go out. And it is a major attraction that this weekend is this function, and next weekend you're going to go support that, or whether we're going to the breakfasts or the I guess this week we've got cheesesteak hoagies. So there's always something to get to. We're also working on passing a law down in Harrisburg now, which would allow you to take credit cards and electronic payments when you're doing some of your fundraising, just to make it easier as people want to try to support. They don't always have cash in their pocket. They can easily contribute.
Yeah, that's good. We have a system set up that we can do some stuff like that. It does help. I mean, there's multiple platforms where you can take payments online, and like even PayPal and Square, and have all that stuff. I just, for some reason, I got a little laggy there for a second. I don't know.
There was also that the grant program with the consolidation of fire departments that I know and the governor in his proposed budget was to expand that this year. But digging into it a little bit more and finding out where that funding is going to come from, I guess is raising some concerns, and we're going to see where that money is going to actually come from there to expand that program.
That's good. I'll tell you, and I think Tim, you mentioned it. The struggle for the volunteer fire service is the training mandates as volunteers is just increasing year after year after year. And the amount of hours it takes to become just to be to complete what's called essentials of firefighting, to even and be 18 years old, complete essentials of firefighting, to be able to do interior firefighting is absurd. And it's not absurd, it's necessary. I guess the problem that capitalizes on that is whether college kids go away to school, or you, like I said earlier, you have a two-parent working household with children. trying to stay active and stay in the department for a very long time, it's that's where the struggle is because we still have other lives outside of the fire service. And Tim, you mentioned about fundraising and fighting fires. Not gonna lie to you guys, fundraising sucks. It is what it is. But we have no choice. Like and I think Dave's aware of this. We're in the middle of a capital campaign, right, in Origsburg. We've never owned a fire station that was ours. We had borrowed space. We had one early in the 1800s and early 1900s. We moved into a garage. You know what I mean? We're finally at that point, but we're trying to build a fire station, for the next 100 years, so that my son or any future firefighters, or if God bless it ever happens, we have a paid department. They don't have to worry about anything. Do you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
we realize like we're our call volume, we did like a trend study, and this is going to happen to all the departments in the area. If you guys are familiar with Southern Schuylkill County, it's growing like crazy. Our call volume has just increased substantially, and like the trend is going to be like 100% growth in like 5 or 6 years or something like that. It's insane. And but we're not the only ones with those problems. That's across the state. And it's I guess what's wild to me is that of all of the emergency response, everyone's paid except for the fire service in totality anymore, except for the fire service. And I don't know. Hopefully this sustainability is there, but it's going to need help from guys like you. And we appreciate the fact that you're willing to take this problem head on.
Well, and what we heard that night in Shenandoah, I think, and this will probably sound very familiar to you in Orgsburg, is that, it's become a tradition.
Hmm.
Grandpa did it, Dad did it,
Hmm.
maybe Mom did it, and so it just continues, and that's great. But families are a lot more mobile now, and so you can't always depend on your kids growing up in the same community that you did, or at least staying there when they've grown up. And so that's why I love the idea of reaching out to high school kids. You might be reaching out to kids who could, serve as a volunteer for 10, 20, 30 years, and their family's never been involved before. And so I really saw it as a way to reach out to a whole new set of possible volunteers. I'd never seen anything like it done at to this extent, by making it a real active part of these kids' high school experience. And so I hope that the schools really take it seriously and follow up with the offer that we made just a couple of weeks ago.
I'll throw this at you so that you guys can share it with the people in your communities. I'm gonna say 4 years ago, we started a grant program within our department. If a kid joins our department at 14 years old, they have some mandated things that they have to meet every year. They earn $250 a year so that once they get to graduation, we're literally giving them a grant to go help them with school supplies. If they go to college, they can buy themselves whatever. There's no commitment to it. They finish essentials of firefighting, they stay active, they come to drills, they go to meetings, and they earn money every year. And it's our own internal grant program for our junior firefighters. What's that for? Nobody else does it. And if that's something that helps us ensure that these kids stay engaged and active as much as they can. My son plays 3 sports. I can't expect him to be at every call, but he comes to every call, every drill, every meeting that he can. And he's 17 years old. You know what I mean? And so we're trying to think outside the box within our own department to stay ahead of that curve, Dave. That curve of let's keep numbers coming in some way, shape, or form. On the retention side, I guess that's where if you're really good at recruitment, sometimes you're not the best you're not, you struggle here and there
Yeah.
with retention. So there's definitely a way that we have to learn to juggle both ends. But the attention that you guys are giving to this is something that I've never seen before. I've been in the department 28 years. I've never seen anyone who's running for office give the volunteer fire service this much attention, which is why I wanted to highlight this and record this podcast with you guys. Um, Anything else that you guys really want to dive into? Information you want to put out there? Anything coming down the road? Um,
I just think it's super important when you get those mail campaigns in the mail from your fire departments, your first responders, is to contribute. If it's, $5, $10, whatever you could give. Uh, like you said, it's volunteer. It's potato cake sales, pierogi sales. I'm in from McAdoo, and those guys are hustling. Shenandoah out there in Monterey City, those guys are hustling. And if you could just give that little bit on a boot drive as you're driving through, to go ahead and encourage our communities to give what you can, because you are, all there for us.
I don't know the number off the top of my head. I know there's been any kind of studies done that say that, if we didn't have volunteers, what the impact would be on people's property taxes. We all get complaints about the level of taxation now. Add, X number billion dollars to that because of the loss of volunteers. It's not a tiny number. That much I know.
No, we threw some numbers around. If we wanted to have a paid fire service, we just did some compare and contrast to some other departments that we know are full time and salaries and benefits and stuff like that. And I mean it's millions and millions of dollars a year for Orangeburg. Orangeburg's what, 3,000 people, maybe 3,500. I'm not even sure. It's millions of dollars, whatever that comes to in mills being increased for taxes. I don't know, but you know. And then we did. I think we looked at the fire tax that we do have, which is a nominal amount of money. It's not a ton of money that we get, but I think the number somewhere in like $25 a household is what it ends up being, somewhere ballpark. If you split all of the households, what we get total at the end of the year, and that money's only for capital campaign stuff, um, of sorts. It's not a lot of money. Like it's not. I spend more. I probably spend more on gas every year than people can imagine running the fire calls. Do you know what I mean? And it's just trainings and all that stuff. But people, they don't realize that in some ways, the volunteers of the volunteer fire service are financially supporting that department because we pay for things we don't see any. You know what I mean? And that's not. I'm not. I guess that's. I'm not saying that because we should get money. We do it because we love it. That's bottom line. But you don't think about those things and realize, wow, okay, there's actually a lot that goes into this. It's not just showing up and running spaghetti dinners and going answering the pager. That's not what this is anymore.
Well,
So,
our communities are stronger because of volunteer firefighters and agencies and communities because they get together. They have pride in their firehouse,
no,
and
sure.
that then goes off into your community. Countywide, I think we're blessed with our fire school up here in Frackville that rebuilt the burn building way back when. Debbie Yingley and I did the first campaign to build the burn buildings, and we had raised money successfully in the community. And who knew if you burned a building for 25 years, you couldn't keep burning it.
Yeah,
So now
crazy.
more donations. They built the second, but that is really great because we get to train people.
Yeah.
Because the number one thing I'm sure everybody should understand about firefighting is keeping the people safe. And what struck me at that meeting when we had everybody in the room, all of a sudden a pager went off and four gentlemen stand up and head out to a call. And I got choked up because I sat there going, as the other people said, hey, be safe. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
And you walk out that door, you don't know what risk you're taking, but you're willing to do that for your community. And, some people pick on public servants like us. But I'm not risking my life every day when I go out to my job. Thank goodness.
Thanks for that recognition, Tim. I think that goes a long way, for sure. No, I didn't realize you played a part in that burn building that I have been in many, many times, both the old one and the new one. That's good stuff. I had no idea that you guys have been so you've been thinking about it. Like it's been on the radar. Just
Well,
now the radar's changing.
on the main street and on the corner was the Hook and Ladder Fire Company, and as a kid you'd walk by and they'd be kind enough once in a while to throw a baseball back to the playground if we hit it too far. But my uncle Jack Hopkins was very involved there, and again, Shenandoah is the Polish American, the first Polish American fire company, and the Columbia, and and on and on. But it's just a good group of people who care about their community, and that really is what makes our region so strong, because we do have these people who really care and will risk their lives for their neighbors, and you can't beat that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know years ago, I think I joined in 1997, fresh out of high school. And I always knew the fire department to be like kind of like usually there was a bar and you know they have a hall, and I think that's one of the things that intrigued me about our department because we're 100% dry fire department. We've been for decades and decades and decades, going back multiple chiefs ago. And it was something cool that my parents even were like, "Hey, well, I don't have to worry about any shenanigans." You know what I mean? But at the same time, a lot of departments rely on those things to help fund what's happening for their emergency response. The amount of money that costs for fuel. I think we also did a study on like what it costs every time the truck goes out the door, and it's like somewhere in the tune of like $500 just to go out the door and come back. Do you know what I mean? For a call. And it's that don't quote me on that, but it's if you want the actual number, I can give it to you if you guys want to use it everywhere down the road. The only other thing that I'm going to ask you guys, this is me being completely selfish, and for something that means a lot to me. Mental health for volunteer firefighters is something that is not talked about. There is an organization in Pottsville. It's called Task Force 1087 for emergency responders that does 6 free sessions for emergency responders. Just keep that on your radar. I'm not asking you to do anything with it, but it's something that's never spoken about. You have people who volunteer to help other people, but have struggles for the rest of their life because of it. Love our veterans. They have some access to help, probably never enough. Love our police. Love our nurses. The volunteer firefighters kind of get lost in the shuffle. I'm just going to ask
Frank.
you guys to keep that on your radar.
Yeah, there was a bill last year, and the PTSI bill.
Yeah,
I don't know, Tim or Frank, you recall that bill coming up with
I do not, but I will look it up. P
yeah, check that out.
PTSI bill, Pennsylvania, PA. Let's see what it
Yeah.
is. Bill information, Senate Bill 365. Is that it? Post
No,
traumatic stress injury. Let me see if this is it. Comrade Chief, post traumatic stress.
I'm pretty sure we got that to the finish line. Now, Tim and Dave, do you recall that bill?
Senate
Just a
Bill
little bit.
365, Bartolotta, and House Bill
Yes.
1652, O'Mara.
That became law.
Okay, and what is that?
Really, so that deals with post-traumatic stress disorder for our first responders. It's a good tool out there to get the help that you all need in
That's
those
awesome.
situations. Being a veteran, myself, I get it.
Okay,
So
good.
this was long overdue, and like I said, I'm pretty sure the governor
I
signed it.
think we may have to have more of an attention to that topic maybe later on down the road. I've seen its effects on volunteers, and it definitely. I'm glad to know that you right off the top of your head knew that. We'll look into it, make sure we get to put it out there, and just ask you guys as you move forward to always keep that stuff on the forefront.
Sure.
Um, it's not just bean soup and bellinis. It's a lot of other stuff that comes along with it. So, anything else you guys want to add?
Just
Just
keep the
the
soup and bellinis coming because they are good.
just I recently had a tour of the bulldog operations over in
Oh yeah,
Nesquehoning. Used to
yeah,
be the KME Kovac, and of course they're doing rehabs and they're doing rebuilds, and they were explaining to me about the just astronomical costs of new equipment, which of course then makes rehabbing and refurbishing all the more economical, and neither one is cheap. But I mean, I remember people complaining about the cost of a new truck 20 years ago, and when they tell me about the realities today, it's like, wow, that's a lot of bleenies, and so yeah, it isn't getting any easier.
No, it's not. But your attention to the matter is something that is important to us. It's something that we don't see it too often. Yeah, a lot of people verbalize, yeah, we support the volunteer service. Yeah, we love the volunteer fire service. I get it. But taking action and talking about it are two different things.
Oh
And
yeah.
the fact that you guys are at least willing to come out in the community, have the discussions, put your face out there, take the hard questions, and then willing to come out here and record, take time out of your day. I want to make sure you guys get all the press that I personally can, and I'll make sure to send it to your representatives. You guys can get it sent out to people and talk about it. Make sure everybody knows. Listen, we understand, and we're here to support you, and that's what the fire service is thankful for. So, all right, gentlemen.
Thank you for getting us on the map, and thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service.
Well, we're doing the best we can, gentlemen. We are just like you are. So, all right, take care. Thank you so much. I'll make sure this gets emailed to you. You
Thank
guys
you.
can send it to whoever you want. And if you guys ever need feedback, have ideas, have something else that you want to talk about, my platform is yours. We will use it to whatever capacity to promote the three of you. Okay?
Thank
All
you.
right, that the 17th century mansion where you're recording it, I think you should open that up for tours. That doesn't look like the Orgsburg I know.
You don't need to know that. It's the old fire station, Dave. It's the old fire station.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Make
Joys of technology, huh?
Isn't it crazy? I spend my days on Zoom because I work from home. So like I'm blessed to juggle a schedule that allows me to be there for my department most of the time. But yeah, it's this post-COVID world. We realize some things do effectively work remotely, but
Yeah.
it's just one of those things. So all right, guys.
All right.
I'll
Thank you.
take care. See you, Dave. Dane,
Thank you.
can I talk to you a little bit about that bill?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So does that open up funding? See you, Dave. Tim, you can hang out if you want. Does that open up funding then for like nonprofits, or is that
Yeah.
just a?
No, I believe
I'm gonna
there
stop
is.
recording.